Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time when the mind becomes its own battlefield. A war of what ifs, maybes, and should I's, a war fought not with weapons, but with restless thoughts that echo louder than action. Overthinking is a thief. It robs you of peace, it robs you of time, and worst of all, it robs you of your own potential. Every dreamer who has ever built something lasting learned one truth: hesitation never built a bridge, and doubt never lifted a soul to its highest place. Only clarity and action move mountains. Only focus can carry you from where you are to where you long to be. The mind loves to wander, to replay yesterday's mistakes or borrow fear from tomorrow's uncertainty. But life is not lived in yesterday, and it is not promised in tomorrow. Life is only here, in this present breath, in this very moment. And if you allow your thoughts to spiral unchecked, you trade the richness of now for the emptiness of what never was. So hear me. Your vision deserves more than delay. Your calling deserves more than endless circles of what if. You are stronger than the doubts whispering in your mind. You are greater than the fears that seek to chain your progress. The only way forward is to choose, to act, to step boldly even when the ground beneath your feet feels uncertain. Discipline is the quiet companion of greatness. It does not shout, it does not demand, but it shapes destiny one choice at a time. Focus on your goal as a traveler focuses on the horizon. Do not count the stones along the road. Keep your eyes on the distance where your dream lives. For where your eyes remain, there your feet will follow. And when fear comes, and it will meet it not with overthinking, but with faith, faith that the same power that placed the vision within you will also guide you to fulfill it. Faith that no step taken in courage is ever wasted. Faith that your journey, though long, is leading you to a place where your purpose will shine. Stop overthinking. Stop waiting for perfect timing, for perfect certainty, for perfect conditions. There is no perfection in waiting. There is only perfection in moving, in trying, in learning, in pressing forward. Every small step today is worth more than 1,000 thoughts left unacted on, so rise. Choose focus over fear. Choose clarity over confusion. Choose action over endless hesitation. Fix your eyes on the goal that burns within your spirit and walk toward it with the quiet strength of someone who knows they were made for more. The future will not wait for you to finish overthinking, but it will open its arms to receive you when you finally decide to move. Clarity silences confusion. It is the quiet lantern in the dark night, the whisper of truth in the middle of noise, the steady anchor in a sea of storms. When clarity is present, it does not shout, it does not compete for attention. Instead, it shines with such gentleness that all the chaos begins to settle. The mind, which once spun endlessly in circles, begins to recognize its own stillness. In that stillness, direction emerges. In that direction, strength is found. Confusion is often not the enemy itself, but a symptom. It comes when the heart longs for one thing while the mind entertains another. It comes when fear plants seeds of doubt in soil that was meant to grow courage. Confusion is a fog, thick, heavy, and blinding. But clarity is the light that cuts through it. And you, my friend, are not called to wander lost in fog. You are made to walk with vision, with understanding, with the steady assurance that what you are reaching for is worthy of your pursuit. Think of the way the sun rises over the horizon. At first, the sky is gray, the earth still cloaked in shadow. But then a golden line appears, piercing the darkness, spreading warmth and sight. That is what clarity does to confusion. It does not erase the shadows immediately, but it gives enough light to take the next step. And that is all you need, the courage to take one step, then another, and then another. Too often, we delay our progress waiting for the entire path to be revealed. We want the map, the guarantees, the certainty that every move will succeed. But clarity does not always come in the form of a full picture. Sometimes it comes as a whisper, sometimes as a single word, sometimes as a small nudge in the heart. It says, this way, just begin. And if you honor that whisper, if you act upon that nudge, the fog begins to thin. The truth is, overthinking is born where clarity is absent. The mind starts building castles of fear, scenarios that may never exist, and reasons to hesitate. Confusion becomes heavy, weighing you down with questions. What if I fail? What if I am not ready? What if this dream is too big for me? But clarity silences those voices. Clarity does not argue with fear. It simply speaks louder through conviction. It says, yes, you may fall, but you will rise. Yes, you may struggle, but you will grow. Yes, the dream is big, but so is the spirit within you. When clarity is your companion, the chatter quiets. You no longer need to explain your steps to everyone who does not understand them. You no longer wrestle with the weight of every opinion, every doubt, every distraction. Clarity gives permission to simplify, to cut away what does not serve, to release what does not align, and to walk forward with unshakable focus. And how do we find this clarity? It is not always in the noise of the world. It is not in the endless advice or the comparing of paths. Clarity is born in stillness, in honesty with oneself, in asking, what is true for me? What is the vision that refuses to let me go? What burns in my spirit even when I try to quiet it? The answers are not always grand. Sometimes they are small, humble, and deeply personal. But those answers, once recognized, hold more power than 1,000 uncertainties. Clarity requires courage. For once you know your direction, you can no longer pretend you are lost. Once you know what must be done, you can no longer hide behind confusion. And that is why so many linger in overthinking. It feels safer to question than to move. But safety does not build destiny. Only clarity paired with courage does. And so, silence the noise. Let your spirit grow still until you hear that whisper of truth. Once it speaks, honor it. Do not dismiss it as too simple or too far-fetched. Hold it close, for it is the compass designed for you alone. And when you walk with that compass in hand, you will find that the fog cannot hold you. The doubts cannot bind you. The distractions cannot sway you. Clarity is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is the difference between wandering and journeying, between existing and truly living. It is the force that steadies trembling hands and strengthens weary hearts. It is the quiet knowing that you were made for something greater. And that greater thing is not waiting for tomorrow. It begins with the choices you make today. Let clarity silence the confusion within you. Let it become the song louder than fear, the light brighter than doubt, the guide stronger than hesitation. For once you carry clarity, you carry freedom. You walk with focus. You walk with peace. You walk with purpose. And nothing, no storm, no shadow, no whisper of fear can take that away. Action beats hesitation. It always has, and it always will. The world does not remember those who stood at the edge of possibility, paralyzed by doubt. It remembers those who stepped forward, trembling perhaps, but stepping still. Hesitation may feel safe, but it builds nothing. It is a pause that stretches into paralysis, a silence that grows heavy with regret. Action, even imperfect action, carves a path where none existed. It breaks chains. It creates momentum. It builds bridges between what you dream of and what you live. Hesitation is the mind's way of seeking comfort in delay. It whispers, wait until you are ready. Wait until you are certain. Wait until everything is in place. But the truth is, there will never be a perfect moment. Waiting for certainty is like waiting for the ocean to grow still before you set sail. You will wait your whole life, and the ship will never leave the shore. Action does not wait for calm seas. It dares to launch, trusting that the waves will teach the sailor what stillness never could. When you choose action, you choose growth. You choose movement over stagnation, courage over fear, progress over perfection. Every great achievement began not with certainty, but with a first step. Think of a child learning to walk. They do not wait until balance is mastered, until every muscle is trained. They stumble, they fall, they try again. The falling is not failure. It is proof of trying, proof of courage, proof of progress. And soon, what once seemed impossible becomes second nature. That is the way of action. It may look clumsy at first, but it carries you forward until grace is born from persistence. Hesitation, on the other hand, is a thief of time. It convinces you that there is always tomorrow, always another chance, always more time to prepare. But days slip by and weeks turn into years. And one morning you awaken with the weight of what could have been. Regret is the gift hesitation leaves behind. Action does not guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees growth lessons and the deep satisfaction of knowing you tried. And in that trying, doors open, strength builds, and destiny is shaped. Action beats hesitation because action honors the present moment. It takes the opportunity at hand and refuses to let it slip away. The present is where power lives, not in the echoes of yesterday, not in the fears of tomorrow, but in the choices you make now. Hesitation drags your feet with questions of the past and worries of the future. Action says, now is enough. Now is the time. And with that single choice, the world begins to shift. Consider the seed planted in the earth. If it hesitated, if it waited until it was certain the sun would shine or the rain would fall, it would remain buried forever. But the seed does not hesitate. It breaks open, vulnerable and uncertain, pushing through the soil toward light it cannot yet see. That is the courage of action. It risks the unknown for the promise of becoming. And if a seed small and fragile can trust the process enough to grow, then surely you, with all your strength and spirit, can trust yourself enough to move forward. Action is not about knowing every answer. It is about daring to step into the unknown with faith that answers will come. Many wait until they feel brave before acting, but courage is not born in waiting. It is born in doing. The act itself creates the courage, and courage grows with every step. Fear loses its grip the moment you face it head on. Action beats hesitation because fear cannot thrive in motion. Fear feeds on stillness, on unmade decisions, on dreams left to gather dust. But once you move, once you take even the smallest step, fear begins to shrink. And let us not forget that hesitation often disguises itself as wisdom. We say, I am thinking it through. I am waiting for the right time. I am being careful. But deep down, we know the difference between wise patience and fearful delay. Wisdom listens, learns, and then acts. Fear listens, doubts, and stays. The difference is simple. Wisdom moves. Fear freezes. And when you look back at your life, it will not be the moments of careful waiting you remember most, but the moments of bold action, the times you dared to try even when you were not ready. So choose action. Choose the step that feels uncomfortable but true. Choose the leap that stretches your spirit. Choose the movement that carries you closer to the life you imagine. And when doubt whispers, answer it not with more thought but with more action. Each step forward is a declaration that you refuse to be held hostage by hesitation. Each decision to move is a statement that your dream matters more than your fear. Action beats hesitation because life itself is action. The river flows, the wind moves, the sun rises and sets. Nothing in creation waits for permission to be. You too were made to move, to grow, to become. Do not let hesitation write the story of your life. Let action be your pen, carving a tale of courage, resilience, and fulfillment. For in the end, hesitation leaves you with questions. Action leaves you with answers. Hesitation leaves you with regret. Action leaves you with memories, lessons, and victories. And it is better to stumble in pursuit of your purpose than to stand still and watch it pass you by. Fear feeds overthinking. It is the unseen hand that pushes the mind into endless circles, keeping it trapped in a loop of what-ifs and maybes. Fear magnifies the smallest doubts until they feel like mountains. It takes a single question and multiplies it into 1,000 uncertainties. And before you know it, the heart that once longed to act is frozen, the dream that once felt alive is suffocated, and the path ahead becomes clouded in hesitation. Fear is a master storyteller. It weaves narratives of failure before you even begin. It paints pictures of shame, of embarrassment, of loss, convincing you that stepping forward is too dangerous. And when you listen too long to fear's tales, you begin to overthink every choice, every move, every possibility. The mind becomes a stage where fear performs its drama again and again, until you can no longer tell the difference between imagined danger and true reality. But overthinking, though dressed as caution, is often nothing more than fear disguised as reason. It tells you that you are being wise, being careful, being thorough. Yet what it truly does is keep you standing still, running in place, wearing yourself down with thoughts that lead nowhere. Fear feeds this cycle, whispering that you need more time, more assurance, more preparation, when all you really need is the courage to begin. Consider how fear operates. It rarely shouts, but it always lingers. It waits for you at night when the world is quiet, replaying past mistakes. It greets you in the morning, planning worries about the day ahead. It lurks behind opportunities, reminding you of every reason to say no. And every time you give it your ear, it grows stronger. Overthinking is simply the echo of fear growing louder in the chambers of your mind. But fear is not truth. It is not a prophecy. It is not destiny. Fear is an emotion, not a fact. And when you learn to see it for what it is, you strip it of its power. The way to silence overthinking is not by trying to untangle every thought, but by refusing to let fear be the voice that leads you. For when you follow fear, you feed doubt. When you follow courage, you feed clarity. Think of a bird perched on a branch. If it allowed fear to consume its mind, it would never leap. It would sit there analyzing every gust of wind, worrying about the strength of its wings, doubting the distance of the ground. It would think and think until its chance to fly was gone. But the bird does not overthink. It trusts what it was given. It leaps not because it knows the air will always hold it, but because it trusts its wings enough to try. That is the power of moving despite fear. It starves overthinking and feeds faith. Fear thrives in silence, in inaction, in the places where you refuse to take a step. But the moment you act, the moment you move toward what you desire, fear begins to shrink. Overthinking loses its grip when it is met with motion. Each decision, no matter how small, is like a light piercing through the darkness. Action breaks the cycle of endless thought, showing you that life is not as dangerous as fear made it seem. Fear will always knock on the door of your mind, but you decide whether to invite it in. You cannot stop fear from arriving, but you can stop it from feeding. The way you do that is by refusing to sit at its table of doubts, by refusing to rehearse its stories of failure. Instead, you focus on the vision that burns within you, the goal that pulls you forward, the truth that you are capable of more than your thoughts suggest. And do not be deceived into thinking that fear is only an enemy of the weak. Even the strong feel it. Even the brave hear its whispers. The difference is not in who feels fear, but in who lets it lead. The strong acknowledge it, but they do not bow to it. They walk forward with trembling hands, but with steady hearts. They know that fear only has as much power as you grant it. So when your mind begins to spin with overthinking, pause and ask, what am I truly afraid of? Shine light on the shadow. Name it. Face it. And you will see that fear is smaller than it appeared. The act of naming it robs it of mystery, and the act of acting robs it of power. For fear cannot live where courage is chosen, and overthinking cannot thrive where movement is made. Fear feeds overthinking, yes, but courage starves it. Faith starves it. Trust starves it. Every step you take toward your goal, every risk you embrace, every moment you choose to act instead of circle in thought, you weaken fear's hold. And one day you will look back and realize that fear was never the giant it pretended to be. It was only a shadow, growing large because you kept the light of action behind you. Let that light move in front of you. Let courage lead the way. Refuse to let fear feed your thoughts another day. For your life is too precious, your purpose too great, your time too short to waste on overthinking. You were not made to sit forever in hesitation. You were made to move, to build, to grow, to become, and no fear, no matter how loud, can silence the strength of a spirit that decides to act. The present moment is power. It is the only place where life truly unfolds. Yesterday is already written, sealed in memory. Tomorrow is not promised, a story yet to be told. But this moment, this breath, this heartbeat is alive. It holds within it the strength to change direction, the courage to rise again, the wisdom to begin anew. The present moment is not small, it is vast. It is the meeting place of all that has ever been and all that will ever come. To waste it in worry, regret, or hesitation is to overlook the treasure in your hands. So many lose themselves to the past. They replay mistakes, carry shame, and let old wounds dictate today's choices. But the past cannot be undone. It is a teacher, not a prison. Its lessons are valuable, but its chains are illusions. When you dwell too long on what is behind you, you blind yourself to the possibilities before you. The present moment calls you to lay down the burden of what was, to honor its lessons, and then to walk forward lighter, freer, ready to live now. Others become trapped in tomorrow, consumed by anxiety about what may or may not come. They borrow fear from a future they cannot control, and in doing so, they miss the beauty of today. Worry is a thief that steals the joy of the present without ever securing the certainty of the future. You cannot live in a day that has not yet dawned. You can only live here now. And in doing so, you build a tomorrow worth stepping into. The present moment is power because it is the place of action. You cannot act yesterday. You cannot act tomorrow. You can only act now. Every great achievement, every dream fulfilled, every mountain climb was done not in some distant someday, but in a series of present moments honored and embraced. The smallest step taken today is greater than the grandest plan postponed to tomorrow. For today is alive, tomorrow is only imagined. Imagine the river flowing steadily forward. It does not wait for yesterday's water to return, nor does it try to race ahead to tomorrow's stream. It simply moves, carrying life in its current, nourishing the land it touches. That is the way of the present. It flows steadily, offering everything needed in its time. When you align yourself with it, you find a rhythm, a peace, a strength that cannot be found in the endless tug of war between past and future. The present moment is also the place of healing. Old wounds cannot be mended by reliving them, nor can future fears soothe today's pain. Healing happens when you breathe deeply into now, when you allow yourself to feel, to release, to let the present wash over you like cool water on a weary soul. The moment you embrace what is before you, you begin to find restoration. To live in the present is not to ignore the past or neglect the future. It is to put them in their rightful places. The past is a lesson. The future is a vision. But the present is the canvas where both come alive. You take the wisdom of what has been, you hold the hope of what is to come, and you paint them into the masterpiece of now. Think of how the sun rises each morning. It does not bring back yesterday's light, nor does it rush ahead to shine tomorrow's beams. It gives itself fully to this day, to this hour, to this moment, and in doing so, it illuminates the earth, warms the heart, and awakens life. If the sun itself can commit so fully to the present, how much more can we? The power of now is not in grand gestures, but in simple faithfulness, in choosing to take the step before you instead of waiting for the perfect path, in speaking words of kindness instead of overthinking them, in daring to begin even if the end is not yet clear. The present moment asks only for your presence, not your perfection. So many dreams have died in the wasteland of someday. So many callings have been silenced by the words, not yet. But the truth is, someday is not on the calendar. Not yet is the language of hesitation. The only real time you have is now. The only power you can hold is this moment. And if you waste it, you waste the gift of life itself. Do not overlook the present while waiting for a future that may never come. Do not chain yourself to a past that cannot be undone. Stand here, act here, love here. For here is where you are alive, and here is where your power lives. The present moment is not a waiting room for your future. It is the birthplace of your destiny. Every choice, every act of courage, every moment of faith adds up to the life you long for. If you honor now, the future will take care of itself. If you dismiss now, the future will arrive empty, hungry, and unfulfilled. So let the present moment be your sanctuary. Let it be your strength. Let it be your guide. Step into it fully, without fear, without distraction, without regret, for the present moment is power, and when you claim it, you claim your life. Discipline shapes destiny. It is the quiet architect working in the shadows, building foundations that storms cannot shake. It is not loud, it does not dazzle, and it does not demand applause. Yet, without it, dreams remain fragile, hopes remain unsteady, and visions remain only wishes written in the sand. Discipline is the bridge between the life you imagine and the life you live. It is the steady hand that molds tomorrow out of today's choices. Many speak of talent as though it alone is enough. But talent without discipline is like a seed left on a shelf. It may hold promise, but it will never grow. It is discipline that plants it, waters it, tends to it, and guards it against weeds. Talent may open the door, but discipline is what keeps you walking through it day after day. Greatness is never built in a single act of brilliance. It is shaped in the quiet repetition of small, faithful steps. Discipline is not glamorous. It does not sparkle in the moment. It often feels heavy, like rising early when the bed whispers for you to stay. It feels strict, like choosing restraint when indulgence tempts you. It feels lonely, like working in silence while others chase ease. Yet discipline carries a beauty of its own, for it honors the future you long for more than the comfort you feel today. It whispers, sacrifice now so you may rejoice later. Work now so you may stand taller tomorrow. Consider the sculptor who takes a block of stone and with each strike of the chisel removes what does not belong. At first, the stone resists, the blows are tiring, the progress unseen. But with persistence, the shape emerges. What once looked ordinary becomes a masterpiece. So it is with discipline. You chip away at laziness, at distraction, at fear, until the true form of your destiny is revealed. Without discipline, the stone remains unshaped, the potential forever hidden. There is power in consistency. A single act of discipline may feel small, almost insignificant. But repeated daily, it becomes transformative. One page written each day becomes a book. One small saving becomes wealth. One moment of study becomes wisdom. The sum of your destiny is built on the simple faithfulness of today. Discipline teaches that success is not sudden. It is stitched together slowly, patiently, deliberately. But do not mistake discipline for harshness. It is not meant to break you, but to build you. It is not a chain, but a compass. It points you back to your purpose when distractions call your name. It strengthens your character when life grows heavy. It teaches you that true freedom is not found in doing whatever you please, but in having the strength to do what is needed. Discipline may demand effort, but it gives back freedom in return. The freedom to live a life of meaning, to fulfill your purpose, to stand unshaken when challenges arise. There will always be moments when the easy path calls louder than the narrow one. Discipline is the voice that says, remember who you are. Remember what you want. Remember where you are going. It lifts your eyes from the comfort of the present and fixes them on the promise of your future. Discipline does not ask if you feel ready. It asks if you are willing. And when you answer yes, destiny unfolds. Think of the farmer who rises each morning before the sun. The soil does not reward him instantly. The seed does not sprout in a day. But with discipline, he tills, he waters, he waits. And in time, the harvest comes abundant and overflowing. Destiny is much the same. You may not see the fruit today, but discipline assures that the work you do in faith will not be in vain. Discipline is also the guardian of dreams. For without it, distractions devour your focus. The world is full of noise, full of invitations to wander away from what matters. Discipline draws the line, reminding you that not every door is yours to walk through. Not every opportunity is yours to chase. It teaches you to say no to what is lesser, so you can say yes to what is greater. And when hardship comes, and it will, discipline is the strength that keeps you steady. Emotions may rise and fall like waves, but discipline anchors you to action even when feelings fail. It is the reminder that storms are temporary, but perseverance builds legacies. Many begin the journey with passion, but it is discipline that sees them through to the end. So let discipline shape you. Do not despise its demands, for they are shaping your destiny. Let it order your steps, guide your hands, and mold your character. One day you will look back and see that the life you longed for was not built in bursts of inspiration, but in the daily choice to stay committed, to stay focused, to stay faithful. Discipline shapes destiny because it aligns your actions with your vision. It brings tomorrow into today and makes dreams tangible. It may be quiet, it may be unseen, but it is powerful. And those who embrace it find themselves standing at the threshold of a destiny greater than they ever imagined. Faith fuels progress. It is the fire that keeps the weary traveler moving when the road stretches long and uncertain. It is the quiet strength that whispers, keep going, even when evidence is scarce and results are unseen. Faith is not the absence of struggle. It is the courage to believe that the struggle has purpose. It is not blind hope, but the deep knowing that there is meaning in the unseen. that every step forward, no matter how small, draws you closer to the promise placed within you. Progress is rarely instant.